Boom, boom, boom. If you get in here, give it a like, thumbs up, share it out, please. It helps the channel. It blesses me. And if you see me looking over here, for those coming in, I'm trying to see where we're at. Look at the chat. Give it a few minutes and see who comes in, because I didn't do this till last minute. Social media. Okay. Okay. Hey, Kathy, what's up? I'm looking down because I'm looking for the chat to come up. How you doing, sis? Y'all don't have to use this thing don't stay streaming when you're running from the phone. So I have to look at the chat on the iPad. How's it going? God, I'm tired. I don't know why I've been so tired. Maybe it's season change. I've been tired. I didn't do my CPAP the whole time last night either, though. That's the other thing. If I'm not on the CPAP, I'm tired because I wake up all the time. I've been sleeping funky lately, too. So up and down a lot in the middle of the night. How you doing? And what's the weather like? Because we got to be 80 or 90 today because it's warm outside. Yeah, when the weather changes, I know I get tired. I know. What's y'all weather like? Are you in Texas? I forget sometimes. I'm getting old. I have to make y'all laugh. I'm getting old. Somebody was in the Carolinas, somebody in Texas, somebody I talked to was in Ohio. One of y'all is in Maryland. I know that Wendy is in Colorado, and I don't know where they moving to because she got to move. Yeah, I thought Texas. Okay. Yeah, you in Dallas. That's right. I was like, aren't you in Texas? I thought so. Okay. Yeah, we probably what are we today? Let me look real quick. Because I walked outside to check on the little garden, and that's some weird stuff going on out there. I got well, I saw it when I first moved in here. This fungus, and it's called dog vomit. That's the name of the fungus, and it's disgusting looking. And when I moved in against the wall near the apartment, the edge near the sidewalk, it was gooey. And so I took a little shovel and shoveled it out, not knowing what it was because I never seen anything like it. And that's when I first moved in here before I ever started trying to garden back there. Well, I have recently put stuff on the other side, and all of a sudden, that same stuff then showed up on the other side. It is gross looking. If you go do a Google on it, it's nasty looking. It's a fungus, but it doesn't hurt. Apparently, it doesn't hurt your plants. But I can't. I was like, oh, this is disgusting. So one of the garden groups, they told me how to deal with it. You can use bleach, and you can pour bleach on it, and then the moisture. And as it dries out, it basically will dry up. But it's disgusting. Well, the little bed that I created with the blocks, I got up there this morning and it was right on them two little areas on the bed. It's not bad. It's actually a good sign that you've got some rich soil. So it means the soil is good soil. It's like when you get mushrooms in the soil, that means you got some really, really good nutrient soil. So the dog fungus vomit, whatever they call it, it means the soil is extremely rich. So it's a good soil. And this is what I'm using is a planting mix, but somehow, and it breaks down woody based material. So yeah, research. It's disgusting looking, but I guess it means the soil is really rich. Just like if you grow mushrooms, mushrooms just automatically start growing up in your soil. And the soil that I used the first time actually had a lot of mushrooms in it. Because mushrooms is a fungus too, if I'm remembering correct. Yeah, I think it's a fungus too. I think it's a fungus too. I think mushrooms is a fungus, child. Hold on. Yeah, it's a fungus. Mushrooms are a fungus. So the dog vomit is a fungus, which usually means it's a very rich soil. But it's disgusting looking. It's really disgusting looking. I was gonna look up weather. 83 degrees. So it's 83. Um, and we're gonna be 80s. We're hitting the nine. Oh, we're hitting the 90s next week. So yeah, I got to get out there and put the corn in. So Sunday I'm gonna probably be out there. Yeah, Sunday's gonna be 85 with some overcast. So Sunday I'm gonna go ahead and put the corn in. What'd you say on April? Hold on, let me look. Ooh, knee replacement. Well, girl, yes, prayers for you on a knee replacement. They should be putting you on a blood thinner. Uh, Harold, welcome to the channel. Well, welcome. I'm welcome. I'm randomly gonna be talking, so yeah, you're welcome to join in. Where you at in the country, Harold? I'm gonna talk about some stuff. I got a few things on my mind, but right now we just waiting. Hey, Chicago BBW, what's up, baby? And just giving people a chance that do follow the channel on a regular basis. But everybody, welcome, Mr. Harold. Where you at in the country, Harold? Now, if you're following me for trucking, Harold, I used to do trucking a long time ago. I don't do trucking anymore. But I always can refer you to people if you need help. Because I did train drivers and all that. Sometimes I might come up because I used to do trucking. And the early part of my channel was a lot of trucking. So right now it's just life because I don't drive anymore. I still have my CDL though. So right now I get in here and conversations for us could be anything about just life, money, what's going on with the world. Maybe we can talk about Will Smith slapping the hell out of Chris Rock. I'm gonna bring that up today because everybody and their mama sent me that. I didn't watch it. I just seen a clip of it. I didn't watch the show, so I didn't know about it. And I just all of a sudden I had all these people texting me about, and I thought it was about. I thought, oh, okay, they're doing some comedy. I didn't know it was a real deal. And then when I went back and saw the footage, I was like, okay. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about that because everybody and their mama been talking about it. If you come in at this point, please give us a like, thumbs up, share it out. But yeah, we talk about random stuff. I do talk about Christian stuff because I am Christian. Um, so yeah, just random stuff. I don't know. I think we right now we got all these people. It's always this new thing, and it came out in the Trump administration where everything fake news, fake this, fake, 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 fake. Um, I don't know, and this is always say I don't know what's true, I don't know what's false. However, I think it has a good narrative regardless of what it is. Because I don't think it was fake. I think he was quite pissed off. Um, I don't think the way that man came out, shoulders back, and again, I didn't watch it from the show start to end. I just watched the clip of what took place. I saw him walk across that stage. Everything in that body language said, I'm ready to jack that ninja up. That was everything. Harold, come on now. That's the truth right there. So right now you really have to have, and this is my view again, Christian, you have to have a keen discernment for what's going on. And you got to have discernment even when you listening to so-called Christian folks. That's why I tell people, don't trust me on anything. Go read it for yourself. And I don't believe in trusting any minister or anybody in any prominent. Go read it and research as much as you can for yourself, especially if you can. The problem is that you have to have discernment on how to maneuver the amount of minutia bullcrap that's out here right now. So I'm real big on that one. And where are you at in the country, Harold? I know Chicago BBW. What's your weather like? I know me and Kathy said Dallas is 76. Arizona, we like in the 80s. I forgot 80 something. I just said it. I don't know. It's 80 something. It's warm. And next week gonna be in the 90s. So that means we're getting ready to hit our hot weather. I was out in the garden. I was just telling her I was seeing some other stuff. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Y'all got that weird cold front that was covering that whole eastern part of the U.S. they were talking about a couple of days ago. Yeah, y'all got some weird stuff going on with y'all weather. Well, I'm just gonna talk because we 10 minutes in. Anybody come in, they can join us and they can play it back. So Will Smith, let's talk about that real quick. Let's see. Confusion in the world. Will Smith, gas prices, they just in low vibration. I think it's how you look at it too. I had a Christian sister of mine. She'd asked me, how you doing, and she had sent me a video of a minister talking about, and I really liked what he did because I have an issue with I keep it 100. I got a issue with all the name it, claim it, you're going to be the star, the superstar, the show pastors that want to tell you what I call the rah-rah pastors. Going to tell you you're going to be the best, and if you have $100 million, you blessed. Oh, ATL, okay, I know your neck of the woods. I hate your traffic. I love your food, love your state. But the food is on hit, the state is on hit, except Atlanta traffic makes me want to shoot myself. I'm just saying. You got to go through there like Chicago at certain times of the day, like really late night and as early as hell as possible, because otherwise you're going to be sitting on that freeway. It's like a parking lot. It's obnoxious. And I never went into downtown because I was driving trucks. But at downtown Atlanta, I can't even imagine because they made us go around. We had to take the longer route in the truck because they don't want them big trucks down there in Atlanta. Um, so backing up a little bit, and I'm gonna get into the Will Smith thing. I'm not gonna be on there very long, but there were some things that came to mind. And in general, I'm not one who likes y'all traffic is off the chain, bro. I'm just saying. I'm not one who believes in everything I hear, but I'm 53, so I grew up under a time where we knew that while news may give you an overview of things, we knew definitely as black folks or minorities, especially black folks, that when we were represented, we were never represented well. So we knew that they looked to represent us in a certain light. That's just been the nature of the beast being black in America. Um, in recent years, as people have become blended families, where you've got more interracial families, where they're trying to make blacks look better, you starting to see stuff a little bit different. But I'm also now seeing, to me, we've glamorized the ghetto life, the ghetto mentality. The more, I'm just going to say, ratchet and hood you are, the more popularity you have. And so class and non-class bleed together nowadays. So the more hoish you are, that's more popular now, and it's just not only popular among our people; it's popular in general. We've got a different moral code, and I just did something with my Christian group. I don't do my own laundry lately because of the pandemic, and the pandemic isn't over in my world until they tell me COVID is gone. COVID still exists, and so I recently did a video called "You're Gonna Get It or You'll Get It." I haven't actually made it fully available to everybody. I just shared it privately in a Christian group. And I went out and I had to do laundry because this laundry service I use, they charge really high prices to do quilts. So it's like $20 a quilt. Well, I've got two or three quilts in this house that I used over the winter months. So I wanted to go ahead and get them washed because I'm not, obviously it's getting warmer, so I'm not going to be using them. And I had a lot of blanket sheets and I washed everything, towels, rugs, everything. So I had two and a half of big old bags of clothes that needed to be done. That would have run me easily a couple $100. I wasn't going to pay that when I can go to the laundromat and spend under $50 and get all that done. And that's exactly what I did. So mask on, laundromat with the doors where they had it open so the air is circulating out and not just circulating around, sharing COVID with everybody up in there if it's in there. So I did that. Well, while I was out, because I have been a lot more as a recluse, staying in the house, what I saw morally in watching people, especially at age 53 and being 2 years of really, I've been more in the house. And I'm not saying I don't get out. I do, but I'm very limited on my social gatherings. I have two friends that I hang out with. My friend Linda, who I've known for a while, we worked together and she referred me to the job I'm in currently. And my friend Joe, who I'd worked with years ago, we've known each other well over 20 plus years. And Linda and I have known each other since 2012-ish. So I've known her quite a bit of time as well. Like I helped train her when she was at University of Phoenix. So we became very good friends. Sweet, 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 like a sister. That's just a sister, just like a sister. And so I hang out with them. I don't, and occasionally lately, since I am vaccinated, and I will be going for this next booster as well. I have gone out, but I'm still out where I am going to get the portable washer. I saw it, and that's going to be, it's on my agenda probably closer to the end of April. I'm getting my order in my daybed frame, and I may just do the portable washer and then order the mattress for the daybed frame on my next open, because I'm budgeting in everything. I'm right now. I just put an organizer up for my shoes on the door. Matter of fact, I'll be doing housework today. I didn't wake up till late, around 11:30, 12, because I was out with Joe and Linda. I didn't get to sleep till late. I'm a night person, and so I'm up, and I didn't get to sleep till late. I don't think I went to sleep till 1 or 2 this morning, and then I had Instacart deliver some groceries. And we're gonna get in there because I did stop at the grocery store last night real quick on the way back because I went and had dinner with Linda and Joe. So, and I'll get into that, and then I'm gonna bridge back to the Will Smith. Y'all know I just randomly talk. Jump in here. You know how we do. Um, so I hadn't gone out to the grocery store. I hadn't really done too much, and I, I mean, I hadn't gone to the laundromat in a while. So I went one time, like at the start of December. Are you a night out? I'm a night person, but I've been working nights most of my life. So I hadn't really gone out too much other than really critical things I need to do. Obviously, y'all know vehicle challenge. So that was another thing. Now I did get a little bucket, y'all. It's a bucket. It's a bucket. I don't know if I'm keeping it. It didn't cost very much. Before I don't drive it just around, and I just got it. It didn't cost a lot, and it's a bucket. It's an old bucket, but I got to take it to a mechanic to have some things checked to see whether I'm really going to keep it or whether what I paid in it I can recoup from a junkyard, because I didn't give a lot of money. I'm just going to get into that. I'll let y'all know more on it, but it's janky. It's the dude who had it. Him and his brother did a lot of shade tree mechanic stuff. It was his father's original car. He got it. He was a truck driver, and he's a neighbor of a young lady I worked with at University of Phoenix, and she told me about him. So it's janky. It runs. The air conditioner runs. The windows don't roll down. He did a toggle thing, like he pulled the toggle box out because the ignition keys broke. This ghetto white dude, and pull that, and you have to push it up. I looked. I was like, okay, trucker thinking. He thought he was genius. All it is a little lever, and the lever click, and so when it stopped working, I just pull the box down. You just click it on and click it off. My ninja looked like you stole this crap. I made him go to the DMV with me because it was really janky. It was. If you see it, I had to take a picture of it. I was like, oh my god, it's the old police type car. It's a '96 Mercury Grand Marquis or whatever. It's old. Although the interior is actually, the seating is still in great shape. He done ripped out stuff in the dash and around the steering wheel, and he just did a whole bunch. And what he was trying to save money on, he told most stuff up. That's exactly what I paid Chicago WW, 5 bills. That's it, and it run though. It run. So I've been able to go to the laundromat and to the store. I don't know if I'm gonna drive as far as my doctor's office. I did drive a distance. He did something, I think, with the steering, so you can feel kind of a sway. I took it to a mechanic I had back in the day, but see, they kind of upper echelon. And so I don't think they really looked at it. He just did an oil change for me, put the windshield wiper, not going to do windshield wipers, and put the plates on for me. And I wanted him to do an overview, but he's like, well, it needs brakes. I drove a truck. I don't hear this. That wasn't what I brought it here for. And I don't hear any issues with the brakes. And so I think they just came up with something because he's telling me, oh, it needs rotors and blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not buying you even looked at this, because you don't hear, when your brakes are bad, you normally hear bad brakes. What's up, Jaden? What's up, baby? I love my Jaden. But yeah, normally you hear brakes. We didn't hear it, and my friend Linda went with me. She drove me out there, and she like saying, nothing wrong with them brakes. So I'm gonna take it to her hood mechanic. She got a Mexican dude over by her that her nephew used to work for Napa Auto here in Arizona, and they recommended. And she's been going to this guy for years. Actually, she's taking cars to him back when I was at University of Phoenix. And she said, "There's things I trust him to do." She said, "But he'll look at it and tell you whether the brakes are bad." I said, I'm not buying the brake thing. I think they just didn't want to look at it because it is a bucket. It's a bucket. I'm doing good, my Jaden. I'm doing good. How you doing, baby? Um, but anyway, let me kind of get back into it because I'm getting off on the bucket. So I got a little bucket. It gets me from here to like I said, I can go to the laundromat. I go to the grocery store pretty much within a few blocks, within probably just the central Phoenix area. Once I get it checked out here closer to the end of the month, I know the brakes are okay. I'll get this check on the steering part. I got to see if he can fix the windows for me. And that toggle box looks really janky. I'm like, girl, please don't get the police pull you over. They're going to think you stole a bucket, even though it's a bucket. That's all you can do right now is take it one life. I'll be talking about that. That's kind of getting on that right now. So when I went to the laundromat, I went Sunday. And I took all my stuff to the laundromat. I took, like I said, everything. Sheets. I did everything because if I gotta go do blankets and I gotta be exposed to COVID, then I'm gonna be exposed. Except I have my mask on. Um, what I saw bothered me. Again, coming from a Christian perspective, the morality of people has significantly changed. I only deal with certain folks. I don't jack with a bunch of stuff. I just don't. Oh, my friend Linda just sent me a sticker. I don't know what's going on. Something going on at work. I'll look at it later. Hold on. You gotta hold on. Okay. Right now, Chicago BBW. This car. I'm just. So here's the deal. The whole funeral thing. Just granted, I only took care of the funeral part as far as arranging it, and I did that on a really strict budget. But the expense of going out there cost me in the long haul several thousand because I still owe Joe money. Joe paid the fuel there. We drove his car. He took care of the hotel. We got one room free, but it wasn't right for him to pay his room, and I got my room free through a former church mother of mine at my old church. Her and her daughter put up points for me to get the room free for me. So the hotel we stayed in, decent hotel in Lubbock, but my agreement was with Joe that I would pay half that hotel room because it just isn't right. I'm staying in my room for free. You taking the time out of your schedule to drive me all the way to my ghetto father's funeral, and I don't. And that's advantage. So I'm taking care of fuel. I'm taking care of half of the hotel room. So in that sense, plus the money for food because I took care of my own food, it was some extra money to go out there. So just out of my own pocket getting there and even some of the little funeral stuff I did while I did it on a very strict budget, paper, ink, hiring a girl to do the obituary. What didn't cost me was arranging with the pastor, but I did give some money there as well. Um, what else? Those things cost me money. So in the grand scheme, that trip was several thousand, okay? Just a couple thousand altogether. Fuel in and of itself. Joe bought a brand new Range Rover. That car, I mean, granted, it's probably good on gas, but the fuel to get up and back was some money. Oh, on top of that, we left one day early, so I have another hotel pay. I have to pay, that was 100 some extra dollars for that one night at the Marriott in New Mexico to drive halfway back. Because he again, it's his car, and I appreciate it. He's very much into his Range Rover, so it wasn't like, even though I've driven a truck, and some people would trust my driving, like, I don't want you driving my car because that to him is his world. That's his thing, and that's fine. Do you, boo boo? I don't think that way because I don't get caught up in the stuff like that. But that's okay. I get that there's people who worship their vehicles, and there's a lot of guys who are like that. So for Joe, that was his boat. So he only want to drive and nobody else drives that vehicle. That's fine. No problem. But he drove up and he drove back, but he was tired. Where I know I can drive from here to Lubbock and back. We could have been there way early because again, I drove a truck. But that's your comfort zone. It is your vehicle, not mine. Probably next time around we should have rented a vehicle because it would have got done and back, but then that would have been a more expense I would have owed. So I had some of the money, but my money was mainly for food, any unexpected possible funeral expenses. I had put a little bit aside for the pastor. as a gift. It was, and I'm not judging at all. It was very kind of him, and I'm happy he went with me because what I walked into when I walked into that apartment, I needed that support system to say, "You're not staying here," because I would have tried to clean that madness up. Anyway, off of that, so I owed for that, and so when I got back here, I really realized some of the money that I had that I was trying to save a little bit to get a better car, that's gone. It was out the window because it was now utilized to go and get there for that funeral. So all that went out the window. So when I got back, a friend of mine said, "Hey, my neighbor, he has a Mercury. He's a former truck. He's a truck driver. He has a Mercury, Shannon. It runs, and he only wants $500." I'm like, $500, and it runs. So I was like, "What does this car look?" She sent me pictures. The body of the car is in phenomenal condition. Um, no dings, no dents, no nothing, and it had been his father's car than his, but white guy. But him and his brother did janky mechanic work on it in order to avoid paying mechanics. That's, I mean, and I understand probably on a truck driver salary, depending on what how he was doing. And it sounds like he's wanting to stay home, and a lot of truck drivers who are at home don't make a lot of money. So, and he has kids, so I don't know what he's paying for child support either. So, needless to say, he got in a truck because she said he was driving his car back and forth to California quite a bit. And I was like, this car is 1996, and it ran to where it was going back, and it, driving back and forth. She said, and the AC works. She said, but he's got it on a toggle to start. I said, a toggle. And what I realized is, so there's a lever when you turn your key. There's usually a lever, at least in the older cars, that would click the box, and there's a little rod. So the rod would click the other little poke out switch, and it would move it over to start and turn off the car. Well, something happened with his ignition key, so this dude went into the whole entire steering column thing and ripped down the box where it toggles on and off. So that's just hanging down at the bottom, and you're janky. So I want to try to get that fixed. I'm figuring just to get around, putting 500 to a grand in it, just to get around, I'll recoup maybe what I originally paid for it. The car is probably not worth more than 500 to $1,000. AC runs, car runs. Windows don't go up and down, but you can see where he just went into he went into the dashboard and did way too. He should have left well enough alone. Um, he has a new alternator on it. He has a battery on it, new battery, new battery terminal. I would probably replace both. So I don't know, and I've got to get the brakes checked because this other mechanic, and they're not the same. I thought it was the same guy I had, but the place is under new ownership. So I don't know whether I trust, because as soon as I walked in there, I was like, um, is this still owned by so and so? And they're like, oh no, so and so bought it, which was the guy who used to run the shop. Because I'm looking at the folks in there, and they looked like some Trumpers, no offense. And I was like, because all my red flags went up. And it was funny because when me and Joe had to go pick up the car the next day, Joe said, Shannon, I don't know if I believe they really looked at your car. I was like, yeah, I don't think they did either. I think they did. And it should have been a $200 charge to do what they call a welfare check front to back and give me a list of what needed to be fixed. And I told him I just only want to know what is good for about a year, because I'm figuring it'll take me a year to rebuild the funds to buy another car. Plus, I got to finish out my Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is paid for. I just got to finish paying off I got some taxes, back taxes I need to file. And the guy has already prepared them. I just got to pay him to file them. And each year is not cheap. So I'm getting ready to pay. So like right now I'm doing budgeting to budget everything in order. Anyway, I done got all over on a whole other subject. So Saturday or Sunday, I went ahead. Now that I got the bucket, I rolled the stuff out there. So y'all know, I don't know if y'all know, I told you I have the stomach issue was a double hernia. No tumors, no nothing, but my doctor finally got the CT scan, and I have a double hernia. So I have to get the weight off before they can do the repair surgery. So I can't really lift stuff real heavy, because that will mess it up even more. So I, luckily enough, when I was in trucking, I had gotten it's a little roller thing where you can lift up to I think 400 or 500 pounds. You can roll stuff with it, like if you're moving like a dolly, and it's a collapsible dolly. So I had the collapsible dolly, and I rolled all my bags of clothes out. I had a laundry bucket. I rolled that out. And then I haven't done laundry in so long. While I do have some laundry soap, there are a few laundry things that I needed. So I have two laundromats I normally use prior to the pandemic. One I call the Ghetto laundromat, and it's a coin-based laundromat, which is usually cheaper. You can do a lot of laundry for cheap. However, their parking lot is not very big. They have a lot of the homeless people that are over there and the prostitutes, like I said, it's ghetto, that go in there to do their laundry. So I was like, do I want to deal with that today? And especially with the big bucket, because that car is a big, my one friend called it a big body. And so she said, oh, you got a big body car. I like that. So I like my black folks. I love y'all. Because some of y'all like, hey, we like it's old, but it's a big body. So she that car is big and turning it, and there's something going on with the steering too, because I can feel it kind of sway. The steering is loosey goosey to me. So I didn't go to that one. We have another one that's a coinless laundromat that I've used, and that's closer to the house. So I went to it because it's also next to a Family Dollar, which I am, depending on where Family Dollar is, I like Family Dollar. But some of them are ghetto as hell. And the one over by me is ghetto as hell. So I went in there to get laundry soap. They rearranged the store. This white man up in there, hot mess. I asked him how much cash back. I think he said up to $50. I said, perfect. I didn't know it was going to cost me 50. Even it didn't cost me really 50. It cost me probably about $30, $40 to laundry. And so, but you get, if you put 50 in, they give you 10 extra dollars. So I went ahead and I ended up doing that because he gave me a $50 bill, which I wasn't happy with. I wanted 20s. I wanted like two 20s and 10s. And I was like, I said, well, I want it. He said, oh, that's all I got. You lying, the truth ain't in you. If somebody come in here $50 and buy a candy bar, you going to break that candy bar. You going to break that 50 and just lying. Anyway, so I went over, although that is something that bothers me. So I'm going to say this to y'all. Black folks, stop it. I don't know what it is. And I'm going to say not only black folks, po folk. Y'all want to go get a $100 bill and a $50 bill and think y'all flashy because y'all bust out the $50 and $100. Folks, most folks with money, they don't normally use money. They use cards. And they use AMEXs and well-known credit cards. Some of us are trying to be flashy with big $100 bills and $50 bills. And it's really, I hate to say it, it's a poverty mindset to try to be cool in the appearance of something. Stop it. Stop it. I need you to stop it. I can't. Anywho, who's in here? Yeah, Kathy, he is a true friend. I will admit that. Me and Joe, we've had our ups and downs in the past, but he's a true friend. He is. And y'all be praying for him because he got massive family drama. I love him dearly, but the family drama's off chain. But anyway, so I went up there to go do the laundry, and when I got there, what I saw disturbed me. Because like I said, I hadn't really been out in general public area in a minute, okay? So I hadn't been out in the general public area in a hot minute. So first, I walk out of Family Dollar. Well, Family Dollar ghetto. They had no freaking baskets in the Family Dollar. I was like, where's your baskets? One. Now, my fluffy butt, I have a whatever it is, I have a little equilibrium off on my right side. So I walk with a cane usually sometimes. I don't know if that's due to the whole knee drama and the ankle drama from when I fell off the back of the trailer. But I know I'm just kind of off on that balance a little bit. So I always have my little cane with me. So I now have to carry a little basket around, grab what I need for the laundry stuff. I'm toe up tired. I get all the laundry in, get my little stuff, go over to the laundromat, start sorting it out. Because I get me 2 little baskets and sort it out right there. Sorted everything out, and I use one of them big old, I call them the big ghetto washer, like 100 pounds, and I put everything in one. I put all the dark clothes in one, and then I put all the blankets and towels and rugs in the other. And then I use the smaller 3-loader for my whites. I use 2 3-loaders for my t-shirts and any white underoos or white clothing. And I washed all of that. So all that got washed, threw it in the dryer, got it all done. But as I'm walking from Family Dollar back over to the laundromat, because they're right there in the same plaza, what I saw was just, and this is what I saw. And again, Arizona, ever since I've grown up here, we're a very laid back state. We're a retirement state. We're very laid back. Matter of fact, I talked to one of my customers. He said, I've been thinking about moving to Arizona, yada, yada, yada. That's one of the states. He says, y'all, I got a friend out there. He talked about how laid back it is. Y'all don't have a lot of drama. For the most part, we don't. And like I tell people, now, is there drama here? Absolutely. There's drama in every state. But in Arizona, if you want drama, you got to be looking for it. You're looking to be in drama. It's not like, no offense, like maybe some Chicago's or Detroit, a Compton, a Long Beach. It's not that kind of situation here. I mean, even our hoods, it's just not that type of situation here. In order to get into that, you got to be looking for it. You want to be in drama, okay? You just want to be in drama. That's the only way. Otherwise, Arizona's it's a retirement state. It's laid back. Even in the most hoodie places, it's laid back. Laid back. So when I got outside and I walked out, I see this Mexican dude with what looked like a dope pipe with a thing, lighting it up with the window down like it wasn't nothing. I'm blown. Like I said, this is not the normal for what I know of my state. From there to watching that weirdness, and now with the whole legalization of marijuana, because you have this group that thinks that that's normal. Like my next door neighbor, I can't stand it. The one over here with the kids, the lady, she gets a dude, and next thing you know, the whole place, every time she has a new dude, she got weed. Like when I first moved in here, I could smell the weed smoke. Well, she got another dude, and you can smell they leave the window out in the back, and my whole back patio full of weed smoke. I can't stand it. I've never smoked, don't want to smoke, I'm not interested. I don't agree with it. It takes a lot for me to even see it for medicinal purposes. I can't. Hate the whole smell of it. Anywho. So I'm not big on stuff that you're taking in order to. I get having a drink, because a drink, you can have a drink and not become intoxicated. At least I can, and not become intoxicated. I don't even know. I just sometimes like the taste of a cocktail. Like I like margaritas because of the thing, but I can also do a virgin margarita. I like Bloody Marys, but I don't have to have alcohol in Bloody Marys. I can do virgin Bloody Mary. Now I do like wine. The wine, then wine is just going to be wine. Otherwise, it's grape juice. So yeah, I just do. To drink to just get intoxicated, drunk. I don't get it. That I don't. I'm too much want to be in control of my faculties. So lo and behold, I then go inside the laundromat, begin sorting the clothes, and that becomes even more interesting, because then I'm looking at all the bad ape kids that's up in there. Yeah, I can see that in Texas though. Y'all got a whole different mindset. Texas is a whole different thought process. I get that in Texas. It's bizarre. Whites and blacks and Latinos. It's a whole different. The mindset in Texas is different than Arizona. But now it's this new, and it's more. I'm more so, and I'm not saying people my age don't, but I'm seeing it a heavier percentage among 40 and unders, and the kids, minority children, y'all. I want to talk to y'all. Mexican, black. I need to talk to y'all, and not to knock folks, but and not to be mean. The goal of us, because of some of the oppression of the pink folks back in the day, was that we were going to do better. We're going to raise our kids better. We're going to raise them to where they act decent and in order better. We were stringent on our children so that they would be better. But up in that laundromat, and the little kids, it's more Latino kids, banging on walls, pushing the glass, and as soon as that baby fall through that glass or that glass break and they cut themselves, you're going to be speaking other languages and crying, and my sympathy level is low, because I'm sorry, raise your doggone children. And what I saw, that was the other thing. People ain't raising their kids. Then I saw come in, they hoodie the kids' hair, they unkept, they unclean. And I'm just like, what in the Sam hell is going on? Folks walking up in there, especially some of the males, how do y'all not smell yourself? One dude, I almost puked in my mask. He walked past me. I ain't never smelled that much funk in my life. And you got a woman too. How you lay on her and have kids with her? And they got 2 kids. How do you put up with that level of funk? The Latino dude walked by me. That was the first one was a white dude. Then the Latino walk. I was like, oh my god, like bruh, a shower and soap do exist. You can go to 99-cent store. It ain't expensive. I, I'm sorry. You you go to 99-cent store. It ain't expensive. And what gets me is you got a woman. How you got a female? Females, we already, and if a female funky, I got issues with you because we got too many pockets. Pockets in a pocket. You got too many pockets. Your stuff should really be clean. And guess what? If you know that scent, why you with Funky Boy? I'm not understanding. He shouldn't even be able to get a woman because he funky. But this tell me the desperation of females because the Bible does say that in the last days, their men will have like 3 or 4 women sharing them because they go that desperate to have something. And yeah, it was bad. And so I saw that. Then after I left there with the laundry, I decided because I hadn't eaten, and I didn't realize it was going to take as long as it did. I hadn't eaten. And so I stopped over here. We got a Jamba Juice over here. And I said, well, let me stop in there because I'm diabetic and I had taken my medicine on borderline. But I also know my blood sugars could be acting up. So I was like, well, let me get in here and I'll get something that's going to hit my system quick. So a smoothie will do that. They'll make it for you, and they put those boosters in there. So I had them do an energy boost, and it already it had spirulina, and it already had sugar obviously in it. Child, I go in there. This black guy comes in with 2 kids, a boy and a girl. That's one issue. They go sit down. They did come sit at the table next to me, and they didn't say anything. So he's trying to figure out whatever drink he getting. This little black boy, I don't know if he's 6, 7 years old. It took all I had because I want to take my shoe off and whoop him. He walks over to this guy. I don't know if this guy was his dad, whoever it was, and he just goes, grabs a bag, just as smooth and quiet. I'm like, oh, you learning how to be a thief already. Gets a bag of popcorn chips, whatever it is, right between the man and the counter, and goes to the table and open it like, girl, bye. I'm like, my mom was a crazy as hell, and I was a good kid. Honestly, I was. I didn't need, and that's kind of bridging to the Will Smith thing. I didn't need an abusive mom. My mother was exceptionally abusive. I was a good kid. I wasn't doing like what friends of mine was doing. I wasn't a kid. So I'm sitting up here, this little boy, and I'm going, ain't this? And I'm watching. And so the dude looks back. He said, bro. He said, cuz, where you get that? And he just little kid just looking. And I looked at the man and I said, he got it right there next to your leg. I said something because it was bugging me. And he goes, man, I gotta pay for that. He tells the guy, how much is it? No, I wouldn't have asked that. What I would have done was said, sir, I'm gonna be right back. Johnny, come on with me. And we would have went back in that bathroom. I would have tore his tail up. You don't go into a store and pick up stuff and just open it up without paying for it or asking my permission. You a child. What I am seeing right now is deplorable. And then we wonder why we got these crazy people who now 40 and unders who I want it my way and I'm going to do what the hell I want to do. I just saw it at 6 years old. That grumpy. That's a grumpy stuff right there. See, that's stuff that should have been curbed in your child as a child. I'm sitting up here like this. And you gonna buy? No. It ain't open. And if it was open, I would have bought it, and it would have probably went in the trash because he wouldn't have even gotten to eat it. Because I'm going to make you comprehend. You don't do this. So I can't. What I saw by the time I got home, I'm like, nah, I know I pay for laundry service, and I'm okay to do that. It makes me become more reclusive because I what I'm seeing is just, it's weird. And the behavior, it's almost like the world has shifted into this crazy butt mindset. And I know there's spiritual stuff behind it. While I'm looking at people, I understand biblical statement. When you're looking, the fight is not against flesh and blood, but against powers, principalities. It's the spirits behind people. And even around these children and the thought process, it's different. Um, it's very, very different. And I have very close friends to me who share family stuff. And I'm just sitting back listening. And it's so demonic. It's so generational curse stuff all up in the family line. And they can't see it. In one breath, they tell you how jacked up their family is. And in the next breath, they tell you what wonderful people they are. And my poor sister, my poor brother. And their family members are dicks. I, I couldn't lie on Grumpy. Grumpy was a dick. And he basically said, I practiced being a dick. What I did appreciate was he was honest. And you can't make people see those things for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the delusion they live in, that's their normalcy, that's their treadmill of life. It is absolutely amazing. All nationalities. And again, I do focus more on blacks and Latinos, and not knocking white folks, but they always have reared their children different from us. I think they've always reared their children more privileged, and more they can get away with all sorts of stuff. But that's how they act as a people in general, which is how we got over here with slavery and some of the other discriminatory behaviors. And I can't say all, but I can say a good chunk historically. And it has bled through their lines to their children. Black people and Latino people, we oftentimes were, at least in the older days, in my time and prior, we were trying to be, we were reared, or at least we were attempted to be reared better, to not be that same entitled butthole of the Anglo people. And the moral standard, you are correct, Kathy, has declined overall among all nationalities. It's horrific. Work ethic, moral code, everything has declined. And I'm going to be honest, with the last administration, it felt to me that that spirit was highly unleashed. Um, and we have a new generation of people who that's the one, you have a lot of, like, all these jobs talking about, I need workers, and they can't find workers. There's plenty of folks who need jobs, but they too busy trying to be Jay-Z, Beyonce, clothing design, studio artists. I got kids that call me 20, 30 years old, and I have my own business. Oh, okay. What kind of business you have? Well, I own a studio. Oh, okay. Go ahead and send that over. And that's what they call in their business. And they don't want to take orders from me. They don't want to, because that's how they've been raised. And I'm not trying to say, if you can become an entrepreneur and be successful at it, wonderful, but not everybody is gifted to be an entrepreneur. But again, this also goes back to some of my issues with ministries, that's telling everybody you're going to be the boss, you're going to be the winner. I don't mean to be mean, but not everybody is gifted in that area. I don't know if some of you who are my age remember back when basketball and football was big in high school. I ain't mad at you, Kathy. You funny to me. Girl, I ain't mad at you. Hold up. Like, one of my friends called it, can people start adulting? Meaning being a dang adult. Um, but I don't know if y'all remember this. You remember back in high school and even grade school, you had boys, and especially black boys. They really focused, if they focused on basketball or football, and their goal was to be in the NFL or the NBA, because those were the areas where the money was. And what I liked and I remembered was, I remember they would tell them, you have to understand there's a small percentage of people in the grand scheme that want that position that actually get there. So make sure you have another fallback. Okay. My best friend's husband, he went to high school, and actually he's from Belgrade, Florida, which is a pretty tough area of Florida from what I understood. Project given, very poverty driven. But they had a lot of football players come out of Belgrade, and some that did very well. And one of his good friends actually ended up in the NFL, right? Within, I don't even know if it's the first year, he had a bunch of money, got the house, got that big sign on bonus. And within the first year, he was injured and could not play anymore. So all that regular income that would be coming on a regular income on that big money, it went out the door. What we have to understand is that life ebbs and flows. And sometimes you're not going to be the Aretha Franklin. You're not going to be the Jay-Z or the Beyonce. You're not going to be the Whitney Houston. And God forbid, do you really want to? Look at her life and how it ended up. what some people idolize and what we have made gods to us is not always the best. And I always say this, there is a cost to fame. If you look at some of how these people live and died, and you think, well, and if that's what you want, then do you, boo boo. I don't know that I want to die cracked out in a hotel room, dead. And my daughter also ended up following right behind me not that long afterwards. I don't know that I want that kind of life. And so maybe even though I'm not wealthy, I'm not rich, I am blessed in a very simple and mediocre life. But what people idolize and whatever, it's like, oh, I want a Mercedes, or I want the Lexus, or I want the Range Rover, I want the, what is that, the BMW, and I want these title cars. And sometimes you don't realize what the cost is to keep that. I get these people, but that you can't even afford on a regular basis to maintain it. I had a woman, it was funny, and I never forget, it was a white lady. And she had gotten a Range Rover from us. And within a couple of months, she called back and she was trading it in. I was like, oh, you haven't had it that long. She's like, it's too expensive to maintain. You got it because it had a title. She's moving back from the Range Rover to a Toyota because Toyota was more economical at her budget level to fix. But you was looking at the title and flossing around the neighborhood. And now you got your feelings hurt because this thing, what you think is success, a lot of these people do this showy stuff. And if you know how much money it takes for them to maintain that show, it's a lot. Is it really worth your time? And is it worth your energy? You could enjoy your life on a more simplistic basis and probably have a better life than those people who are trying to be showy. You just could. She said I work on some people today. It's crazy. Um, but no, so when I went there, I saw all that madness. I got back home. And then Joe contacted me, and I know he had family drama, which I really didn't want to listen to because he's got massive family drama. Massive. So I did get back home. We did go out, me, him, and Linda. Where did we go? I can't remember where we went. We go out? I'm trying to think. Did me, him, and Linda go? No, it wasn't me, him, and Linda. It was just me and him. We went to go have a genghis, which is a Mongolian bowl. So we went to the Mongolian barbecue. We got bowls, sat down, and I came back. And then I don't know if it was that night or when the whole Will Smith drama was showing up on my phone. And then I saw the Will Smith drama, and everybody and their mama start texting me. And I didn't know because, like I said, I didn't watch this show. I don't. That's not my thing. I really didn't care. And then today I was like, okay, I'm about to watch something because everybody is talking about it. Every news. I'm like, oh my God, what exactly happened? So I finally went to go watch some of the clips of what took place. I saw him walk across the stage. I read some of the articles to understand. It had to do about Chris Rock making a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and the fact of her alopecia and the short hair and something compared to G.I. Jane. And here's what I'm going to say. And I said this to someone else. And I know right now everybody's like, well, we don't condone violence. We don't condone violence. No, I don't either. I think the same way that kids go and shoot up schools, the same way that people go into jobs and shoot up jobs. But when you hear the overall story of what took place, I understand both sides of the coin. And I'm not justifying it, I just understand it. And I also think that both sides of the coin need to be dealt with. Okay. First of all, I do think there might be some more deeper seated issues on why Will flipped out like he did. And I do believe he probably was defending his family. From what I can see from the outside, I'm not within that family. Outside looking in, they've got some issues up in that family, from the kids to him to his wife to a whole bunch of issues going on. But that's what I see a lot of times in families. Not all families, but quite a few families have some drama in the back door, and some are more present than others. And if you don't know how to deal with it, then it's just going to be even worse. So I think there's some deep seated issues, not only within his family, but also within him. I can't remember if it was a roundtable where he did an interview talking about how he was raised in his father. And his father, I think, was very military kind of driven, very stringent. And he sounds like he was a little bit softer kid. And there were those damages that happened with us as kids. I mean, whether you have absent parents, or parents that are could be there but still be absent or broken or messed up, ultimately, what you need and what you got are two different things. So I didn't need the type of mother I had. However, my friend Joe, his nephews, they could use some crazy chick like my mother. That those kind of people need somebody who's abusive and crazy like my mom, because they need somebody. Otherwise, if they have somebody who's decent, they're gonna walk over them, which is what they're doing to the uncle. Hold on. Kathy, me and you on the same page. My issue, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm very sarcastic, and oftentimes, and Chris Rock has issues. He's admittedly has issues. A friend of mine used to say something to me. He used to say something about comedians, and I believe this is very true because I'm very sarcastic. He said most comedians, when they tell jokes, they're angry. They're angry. A lot of comedians, when you listen to some of the stuff they say, all they did was flip something that pissed them off, hurt them, or made them angry, and they made it into a joke. It's a warped coping mechanism. People who are sarcastic, oftentimes we're that way because of hurt and damages, and it's how we've learned how to cope with the minutia of life. So things that irk me, bother me, my sarcastic side will come to the table because it's a coping mechanism. It's how I've learned to hope, how I've learned to cope with disappointments, hurts, angers, things that frustrate me. I'm very sarcastic. That's a coping mechanism. And I can tell you right now, most people who are sarcastic like me, that's exactly what it is. So your comedians that you have that are exceptionally funny, oftentimes, and I'm going to tell you majority of the time, it's a coping mechanism. The reason they tell jokes, it's their own form of coping, and it's really an unofficial type of therapy, and not always good because it means sometimes we haven't dealt with our issues. Point blank, period. Oftentimes when you have people like Chris Rock, who, in this case, I'll go after a certain person and make that funny, you're doing that to take the onus off of yourself because of whatever your issues are. And while it may be comical, it may. I've never thought Chris Rock was really a funny stand-up comedy. So that most of Chris Rock stuff I never really thought was funny anyway. So I'm not a Chris Rock comedian fan. Um, I don't know. There's been very few comics that I think are hilarious. Like Robin Harris, I thought he was hilarious, but there's a lot of them I don't think were all that funny. Um, Certain humor I don't get. Like I'm not a goofy humor. You got to be funny. I'm not a goofy humor person. Um, but Chris Rock to me was goofy humor, and so I believe that, and it's a twofold thing. He triggered something with Will Smith. While I also understood Will defended his family, which I was impressed with, how he did it was not quite right, which I agree with. You don't go up there and slap the hell out of somebody. But this goes to a whole nother issue for me. So I work for that ratchet trucking company. Here's a good example. Prior to me working there, back when I was a driver, they actually had, the company I worked for had a driver that went into the terminal in one of the states here in America and shot and killed his driver manager. What I experienced at that company, what I saw at that company, in the treatment of not only what I went through, but what I saw a girl who before me went through. I kept telling Vivian when I was staying with her, I said, they doing some stuff with this little girl. I said, I'm trying to stay on the good side of the girl because I don't know who this little girl know. She calls her people come up in there and light that place up because of what they were doing. You have to be careful how you treat people because you may trigger something. And then what bugs me, and I'm not justifying it, but what bugs me is when all of a sudden, when that person comes in and shoots up the place, they the worst person on the planet. But the person who was pushing all those damn buttons, they Mr. and Mrs. Innocent. No, y'all both at fault. You pushing buttons and you don't know where somebody's at in their life. You don't know where they're mentally at. And so to me, there's an accountability on both of you. Both of you. And then there's an accountability, especially if it's businesses, on the company. Because there's an environment that you have allowed within your business that has pushed one of your employees over the edge to where they're coming in. Because when they come back in with workplace violence, this usually ain't just something random. If you go back and start looking through whatever was taking place and start talking to people, because I've seen it. I've seen people who are so vicious, evil, and malicious in businesses. I worked at another company. One of the other girls who was there, she said, "Girl, that woman is gonna have somebody come up in here and light this place up one day." This lady was. There was a lady where, and she was awful, evil, malicious, vicious, vindictive, and you was like, "What the hell is this?" And companies, some companies rah that. It's horrible. That's why I try to treat people, especially in business, decent. And even in when I'm on the road, I don't hunk at people. I don't be flipping nobody out. Well, if I truck, I did to get out the way. But flipping people, no, no, no. You open up a door you don't want to open. And the whole Will Smith thing, I think he got triggered. And, I'm sorry for what happened to him. I hate that it was two African American folks doing this. I hope him and Chris Rock sit down and talk. I hope they both grow from it. I think both of them need to go talk to somebody. But to me, he pushed buttons. And was Will Smith's response right? No. But you triggered something. You pushed buttons. And why would you make, knowing that this was an area of struggle? This woman got on her own show and told you, this is what I have. This is what's going on. And it was a struggle for her because she was wrapping her head. See me, I got mine. I don't care. I'm going to end up shaving this tonight. Little fuzz. But she ended up on her show talking about stroke. For some women, female pattern baldness, alopecia, all that is a struggle for them. Women who have breast implants or who have breast cancer and having the breast cut off, that's a struggle for them. I look at life differently because I'm just a realist, but you got to be careful how you come in and making fun of folks, especially in a situation that is it's kind of like a disability, so to speak, or a medical condition. Why would you joke about something like that? It's just ignorant. Um, and not saying he can't joke, but you have to sometimes watch the things you do and the things you say, um, and be a little more considerate. I really believe that. Again, I'm not justifying what Will Smith did. However, I do understand it. Um, and it's sad, but you have people who now he's totally right now. Will is going to be the bad guy on this. That's how they position it. He's just the most awful person in the world. There's going to be consequences. I mean, an Academy Award probably going to sue him or something. He has worth over 300 some million dollars. So there's going to be consequences. Hey Daisy, what's up, baby? They're going to probably um turn around and make him. I don't know if they're going to make him give the award back. I don't know. But at the end of the day, um, how we treat people is very critical. Um, it's one of the reasons I don't deal with family. Like I said here, I've been listening to my friends, family drama. I can't. I got to sit up with people and put me in the dirt who are friends because I will not tolerate a bunch of toxic family mess. I just won't. And I believe that with family. I think that there's certain stuff you let in your life. And I'm not one who's going to let madness into my life. And there's a lot of people who let madness into their life, which don't make any sense to me. Um, and it's a choice. It's a choice. You can choose to be in the madness, or you can choose to get some freedom. I'm a person that likes freedom. I don't like a lot of madness. I don't like a lot of craziness. Zero. So what I saw, it was bad, and you could tell. I don't think it was fake. I think we want to call stuff fake. That's the new term from the old Trump admin. Everything is fake because, and even we have it now with Christian folks. This is fake. That's fake. The whole thing in Russia, the pandemic is fake. The virus is fake. COVID is fake. Everything fake. And I'm like, no, not everything's fake. Well, this is being caused because of this. Now, I do believe that people are using some of the events that are happening for their own gain. I do believe that there might be governmental and financial things that are going to make serious money off of this and position for things later on. But that's also because I know of biblical things that tell me it has to happen. So some of the things going on in the background are being orchestrated to get to a certain end. I'm not shocked at that. That's supposed to happen. So I'm not shocked if there's some shady McLaughlin stuff going on. I'm not shocked if there's some willy nilly stuff going on. I'm not shocked if things are being manipulated. Um, it's just like the whole Russia Ukraine thing right now, and they're talking about. I guess I didn't know Ukraine was a major producer of wheat, grains, and safflower. I think it's safflower oil. And now you got farmers who can't man that, and I didn't know they were like I think like number one in the world between them and Russia on grains and something with safflower oil. Well, now they're a war torn country. That's not going out, and then the backup, if that happened, was Canada. Well, Canada apparently got hit by some kind of beetle infestation. Not only to mention they have had a hell of a winter. They had bad flooding and some other stuff, and they even had like bridges and stuff that got washed out, where parts of the country couldn't even get to other parts of the country. It was madness up in Canada. But again, we only pay attention here to the U.S., so we don't pay attention to other countries to know how it affects us. Okay, somebody asked me about CDL. Hold on, let me read the question. I'm starting driving in a few months. CDL in the works. Not sure about how safe it is. Transporting hazmat. Did you ever get a hazmat? Yes, I used to transmit hazmat from here up into Canada. I transmitted. I used to pick up some kind of chemical in Tennessee, having to do with paint, and I took it into British Columbia to a painting facility on a regular basis. So yes, I have transmitted hazmat several times, and I don't have my hazmat now, but I did have my hazmat right out of trucking school. Um, I didn't find hazmat too difficult. You just have to remember the rules of your trailer and make sure that I was doing dry van trailers at the time. The hazmat I was taking was in totes, and I just made sure it was secured well, so it wasn't sliding around and stuff because it was always liquid based. At least the hazmat I was doing was liquid based. You could be doing. Oh no, I also did explosives. So I had taken some explosives to a facility. I can't remember where I transmitted them from, but it was somewhere in California. Was it California? I think it was California. I think it was California. And I took them to a facility where they store some kind of explosives. I think it was military based. Some kind of military based explosives I picked up. So I did explosives. I've done that, and I also did some kind of liquid, like I said, that makes paint. Also, you have to understand too. The other one that would be the most common is soda. Soda is an acid, and that was another one I think I did. I can't remember, but it's been a long time ago. No, I'm not driving again. I'm done. Me and the trucking industry are good. I'm so cool on it. Um, only way I would have to drive. Only way I would drive again is if it was the only thing I could do. No, A, because I'm a very good driver. I wasn't. Um, and by that time, my confidence level was up on just driving in general. So no, I was not nervous about the explosive. I just know to watch my stuff, and you need to be very cognizant on placarding your truck, making sure your stuff is secured. Now sometimes you don't have a choice because it's sealed when you get it, so you got to pray it's secured. But no, I don't know why. I just never did. I think I was more nervous about driving mountains and stuff when I first started than I was um, explosive. And I initially wanted to be a tanker. I wanted to be a fuel tanker driver. That was what I initially wanted to do. Was do fuel grade tanker. But as my weight even got bigger and getting in and out the truck became more work, when you're getting into any kind of tanker, you have to climb up on stuff. You got the connection of those hoses. And I just physically started realizing I wasn't in the shape. And then I found out, I hate to say, reefer was a lazy truck driver's job, meaning that you didn't have to climb in and out of trailers. So when I got to the reefer side of things, that just changed my life because I love reefer was really to me no touch freight. I didn't have to really touch anything. Half the time I throw the load locks in the back of the trailer when they were getting ready to load. And when I pull up the trailer to shut the doors, they had put the load locks. I didn't have to put the load locks up. And I would tell them, are they going to put them up? Or if I had to put them up, I'm going to need to walk on the dock. And I told them I had a limp. And I'll go on the dock and go put the load locks up. Otherwise, like I said, 99% of the time, I would just put the load locks back on the side and they would put them up for me after loading in the food or whatever refrigerated product they needed. So I like reefer, the refrigerated side of it. But reefer, you also could be taking hazardous materials that needs to be, refrigerated at a certain level. It just depends. But yeah, no, not really. I never had any problems. And I think I only did the explosives once or twice. And like I said, it was some kind of I just remember a bunker place. And it was a bunch of these little kind of concrete structures that were like they went into the ground. And I basically, they unloaded it. Did I do a prison one time? Something near a prison. And then the other one I did was a military facility. Those are kind of big because you have to have certain clearances and stuff like that. That's all I remember. That's probably the more crossing the border to me was more, that was another more anxious period for me, was crossing the border into Canada. Although Canada's beautiful, the border crossing was a little bit more of a pain. And I actually left a company because I was like, I had to U-turn like 3 or 4 times at the border, and me and them ended. That was Conway. I basically threw them the peace sign because they required us to do Canada. And after you turning that truck, it puts me in a position where somebody T-bones that truck, I basically be in prison. So nothing about the load was in order, and I was like, me and Canada are done. They're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, your truck is being returned to you in Arizona, and we were done. And I got right to the state of Arizona before it was over. I was done. So, trucking, you can do well if you can find your niche. If you cannot find your niche, you're gonna lose your shirt, and you won't make a lot of money, in my opinion. And I did it for 6 years of trying it on all different facets. Um, if you're probably not making over 50 grand a year, probably your second or third year, get out of trucking. It's not going to be worth your time. It's going to be a struggle. The first few years I did it for the fun of it, and I had some money set aside. I went through my money within those years because I wasn't making the amount of money. Your first year, you don't make a lot of money. The second year, you may make okay money. But if by that third year, you're not making around between, I'm going to say 50 grand a year or more, get out of it. Don't even stay. Don't even stay. Um, my other thing is the treatment of drivers. They don't care about you. I know behind the scenes working for the trucking company I was at, what they're bringing in for those loads, and they're paying you guys slave wages. I was working for slave wages in comparison to the amount of money that those trucking companies are pocketing on the loads. Um, they're making big money and they're doing very well, especially those people on top. Get out of it. If you do, like I said, if you can find probably a small company that pays you well, and it's usually going to be the smaller ones, stick with them. But then your problem is, like the little company I had in Lubbock, they paid well, but their benefits were crap. And at my age, if you're 40 plus, you need good benefits. So yeah, I wouldn't. That's not something I would do. So that's my view of it. And also the treatment of minorities, women, and what I saw in the office, and a lot of them, they're not, even their office staff. It's not it's not geared towards us, and it's very, a lot of them are Anglo owned with very Anglo mindsets, and we are seen to be only at a certain level if we really should be in their mind in the industry at all. When I first came in, Bill told me right off. He said, they don't want you in this industry because there's money that can be made. He wanted to see more blacks and more women, more Latinos in the industry. And yeah, Yeah, so my view is no, I have zero desire to ever go back into trucking. I'd have to be desperate for a job to drive a truck again. I can't say never because if a situation came up, I'd have to drive. I would rather drive the bus here in Phoenix than to drive a truck. I'd rather probably drive for Greyhound than drive a truck. I do have my CDL skill. I'm going to keep it because you can get local jobs if I need to make ends meet. But going back into trucking, physically, I'm not there anymore. One with the double hernia, two with my knees and just age. I can feel it. Just walking around here, it's kicking my butt. So I got to get the weight off. I got to do anything. And trucking actually is very bad for your health. Between back issues, knee issues, weight issues, your sleeping pattern is all messed up. There's a whole bunch. So I can't give it a plus anymore because I know all the stuff. And all I can tell you now, we got one girl on here, she does flatbed. Now, if you can do a physical job like that, you'll stay probably very well in shape. And if you can be extremely disciplined, and probably the schedule for flatbed is more, it's better than what I was doing. Because if you do box, you can be all sorts of times a night with loads and days and middays. And whereas flatbed, you might, because a lot of it's going to be construction material, it's going to have probably more of a standard schedule. Reefer, I could tell you most reefers, not all, but most reefers, you're driving after hours to get to grocery chains or to the fields to get the produce picked up, and then you have to take it to a grocery chain, which usually means you're driving overnight to be there in the morning. So you did have a little more standardized schedule. And the other thing about reefer is because it is overnight, when you get to the truck stops, you had more parking. So you didn't have to be in there normally in the after hours fighting for tight parking spots at the same time as everybody else because you were driving overnight. By the time you got to shut down for your day was in the morning to sleep. So you're sleeping earlier hours, or you're coming into the truck stop as people are starting to head out between 2 and 6 in the morning. So it really depends. Good luck with it if it works for you. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it anymore. Anywho, yeah, and then somebody said the Will Smith thing. I understood he was defending his wife too. I get that, and he's defending his family. I get that. The response was not the best. Do I get somebody being treated like dog, getting pissed off and getting treated like a dog at a trucking company and then going in and shooting. However, do I justify them going in and killing somebody? Absolutely not. But I also, like I said, I believe there's accountability on three levels. There's accountability to the person who went in and shot up somebody. There's accountability to the person who pushed those buttons. And there's accountability onto the company who is allowing that kind of toxic environment to push into a violent situation. I think we've let off I think the latter two we've let off too easy. And we've made the person who goes in and flips out because they've been treated like crap the bad guy. Right now, Will Smith's the bad guy because he walked up and slapped the hell out of Chris Rock. I I can't totally see him as a bad guy. You can't because he's not thinking. When you have anger, all you see is anger. You don't you don't see anything else. He saw anger and he didn't care about anything else. That man went. It's like when you just all of a sudden all you can see is red. You don't see blue. You don't see. That's why I say all you see is red. All you can see is the heat of the anger. And all he knew at that moment in time is I want to kick this man's butt, and it just snap crackle pop. And that's what happened. Like I said, there's bigger issues. There's bigger, deeper seater issues to where you do that and you don't have that control. Um, tell y'all a story, true story, happened with me. And Joe saw a side of me he'd never seen. This was, oh my God, back in 2012, 13. So Joe and I went to this pho restaurant up the street here from where I live now. I was living down the street from it back then. And we used to go there every blue moon. We're in his little car. He was at the time he was in a little was he in the Rogue? I thought it was his Volkswagen. I can't remember if it's his Rogue or his Volkswagen. So we're in the car, and as we're driving up, the parking lot is very small. So you have a little street that goes here. I wish I had something to draw on. Hold on, y'all. Let me see if I have some. I'm trying to see if I have a pen where I can break this out so you can see it. Hold on. I think I got a pen. Let me draw this out. So I'm going to draw this parking lot for you. Okay. And I'll just make this here. Okay. Okay. This is my rudimentary drawing. Okay. Hold on. Building. And I'm going to show you, and I don't know if y'all can be able to see, this is my rudimentary drawing, so y'all don't make fun of it. But you'll understand. Okay. So let me see if I can show you. Y'all. Okay, can you see this? Okay. So this right here is a side. We'll make this a main street. Yeah, we'll make this the main street. Okay. So this is the main street. And here's a side street right here. So Joe's coming along and we turn up the side street and we're going to turn in here to go park. There's parking spaces in front of the building. So this is the pho restaurant, okay? There's another entry off the main street that goes in the parking lot here. So as we're coming in here, there's a parking space right here. We hadn't even seen it yet. We just pulled up partway to it. This couple comes in here and this little parking spot, they gun it to get this parking spot that's right next to me and Joe. Joe has to slam his brakes because they almost T-boned us in the parking lot. That's how fast they were going. So this particular restaurant where it's at, it's off of what we call the light rail, so the train. And behind it, there are apartment complexes, and this is a neighborhood. There's a Family Dollar just across the street. There's a Goodwill on the other side. There's a bus stop. And so oftentimes you'll have teenagers and kids and families, and even in the parking lot, the little kids, and again, I'm big on people that don't watch their kids, but you have to be cognizant that children just run out. This older couple, they gun it, and they almost hit Joe. I mean, it had a shook. That's how close it was to them to T-boning him. Joe is a severe diabetic. I am on a blood thinner and I'm borderline diabetic. Had they hit us, it would have been a bad day for both of us. Okay. Joe especially, because they would have hit his side. And depending on how hard that car would have been hit, which would have been significant by the amount of speed that lady was going to get that spot. So when we get into the restaurant, I did not physically see them, but when I got out the car, I was physically shaking. Okay. And I'm kind of pissed at the same time because it just totally, it was crazy. When we get into the restaurant, Joe said, that's them. So I said, I'll be right back. And their table where we sat, their table was over against the wall, just 2 tables down from us against the wall, and we were kind of in the middle of the floor. I walked up to their table. I said, excuse me, is that your blue truck out there? Yeah. I said, and it's $5 bowl of soup back then. I said, look, it's only a $5 bowl of soup, but you almost T-boned my friend's car. He's a diabetic. I'm a borderline diabetic and I'm a blood thinner. I said, but not only that, there's apartment complexes back here, and there's children, there's transit. There's too many people walking in the parking lot for you to be that reckless. I said, next time, slow down. And it's only a $5 bowl of soup. And I went and sat down. This woman begins to make jokes about me walking up to her table and thought it was funny. At this point, snap, crackle, pop. All I saw was red. Turn the restaurant out. I didn't really care. And I'm going to be honest, I love Jesus. I cussed him out. And the husband gonna get up, he yelling at this old man, shut up, white people. I said, you about to get laid out. And it took all I had. Okay, this is where the stop is that Will Smith did not have that day. I'm gonna call the police. Call the police. Do that right now, because if you do, I'm gonna make worth going to jail. Because you just took me to another place. My mind was clicking. I was in attack mode. I was about to attack. There was some chili sauce. I could see me throwing it in her face. And all I saw was grabbing that chair and jacking old man up. And I would have whooped him because it was old as hell. They older than me. I'm shaking. The owner of the restaurant knows me because I'm a regular. I brought business to his restaurant. His son knows me. Okay? I'm hot. I'm hot. So when I say I understand when people push triggers, the woman at that table should have shut the hell up and said sorry and left it alone. But instead, you got dumb, crazy people and the little demons behind them that they want to press buttons. And they don't know who I am. They didn't know if I come up in there with a gun. They don't know if I got a gun in the car. I did not. But you understand what I'm saying. You don't know who people are. And you don't know where their mentality is. So, and I could have gotten run up on the wrong one, but I didn't really care. But you triggered it by the foolishness in the parking lot. You initiated the madness. The same way that you got people in companies who initiate drama. They initiate it, and you don't know who this person is. This person could be just the kindest. I'm a pretty nice person. I'm laid back. For you to push those buttons with me, that's that. Joe was like this when because we actually ended up leaving. We left. We took the bigger route and we left. And Joe said, Shannon, let's go. I threw the middle finger, told them how many ways they could go do it to themselves, and told them, let me see you again. You're going to need to call 911. Don't come up in here again. They ain't been at a restaurant since. The owner's son, when we came back like a couple weeks later, we took a couple weeks off. He came and sat at my table. He said, thank you. He said, they're a-holes. This is what he told me he said, they are difficult every time they come in here. He said, and he says, and as we're leaving, the owner's like, do not call the police. Wait a minute. She's a good customer. Talking about me. Okay. She's a good customer. Do not call the police. And I don't know what happened after that. I don't know what conversation he had with their crazy behinds. Because I think he owns that whole plaza. They're very well off. When we came back, the son, B, his name was B. B came and sat down and talked to me. He's like, girl, how you doing? I was like, bruh. And we talked, and they're, is it Fuzz, Vietnamese? I think it's Vietnamese. They're Vietnamese. So he was so cool. And he's like, you okay? I said, man, I had to come up in here. I don't want to make him think I was no punk B. You know, so by that time I had calmed down. But one thing Joe said is, where did that come from? And this is something that I've learned early on. This was part of those generational curses inherited from my father's line. That temperament issue, that thing, that's why my brother's in prison. That's why we got another brother who got temper issues, crazy, and my father had to bail him out a couple times. You have to know you, and you hopefully have enough stability to reel back in when that trigger is pushed. But there's some people that don't reel in, and they go up and slap the hell out of somebody in the face because they've gone past being able to lay that individual, that anger part of themselves back in the casket. I tell people, do not pry open my casket. Do not open up the kennel, because you're going to meet another person you don't want to meet. And because I know who that person is, I have a lot more control because I've dealt with some of my more deep-seated issues, and I'm a much more realist as to the generational curses that come in. That's why when I'm in situations, in work situations, like I was at that company, at the Ratchet Trucking Company, and I saw them pushing all that little girl's buttons, and they were trying to do the same thing to me. The thing also is you have to psychologically understand when you have those kind of people, if they do push the button while they are not looking at the fact you come in there and kill them all. Because that little girl, I was like, oh, she had to call the police on them. That was how they were foul. She called the law on them because of how horrid those people were up in that trucking company. And they're trying to push every button because these kind of people, when you have that kind of a ratchet type person, they get off on it. And the sad part is, had she come in and shot up that whole damn place, she would be the butthole when in reality, they're the ones who started the madness and were pushing everything to trigger the drama. That's why I said, to me, there's accountability on both sides. Is it right that you go to that level? No. But also companies that allow that madness, because what you have done is allow somebody to put the sticks in the fire and poke the bear. And then when they come up and kill 20 people in the building, they're the bad person. And this other person who was doing all this madness, they're so innocent. No. Yes, they're at fault for not being in control of their emotions, but you, the company, is at fault for allowing this crazy behind behavior and this toxicity to continue to where you've basically invited that type of situation. And to me, that's kind of what happened here. It was public knowledge for the most part that Jada Pinkett Smith had issues with alopecia and was very emotional about it. To go and use that would be, to me, like almost maybe not as severe, but where she was, at least it sounds like, emotionally, um no problem, thank you, where she was at emotionally, and I'm going to end this because I've been on here a minute, where she was at emotionally is almost to me like making fun of somebody who's disabled. That's just ignorant. And while yes, you may be a comedian, we need to know our limits and we need to know where to stop. I learned that my sarcasm can be brutal. I can be vicious because I come from two people. My mother's vicious. Monty had butthole tendencies, and it runs in his line. So when I learned more about what was in my line, and I'm a realist, I know how to shut her, the other Shannon or Shanoon, as some people like to say, I know how to shut her down. So being able to walk out that restaurant without snatching old man and punching him in his face, picking up that chair and knocking his hay out, and throwing that chili up in his wife's face and calling her all sorts of tricks. I didn't do that. I actually said, let's go. And we walked out. Came back a couple, but I did tell them, don't let me see you again. Because you got one time, do the wrong thing to me. And they're going to put handcuffs on me. So you have to know how to alleviate and try to bring yourself out of the situation. He was there, and like I said, all that brother saw was red, and it was over and done. He said, I had that problem. I could be Jay, I ain't mad at you. We we all we all have to learn how to step away. And Jay, I'm not mad at you because like I said, I know the other half. I've seen that chick, and I saw her. I had a situation I'll never talk about in my younger days, and I realized who I can be. And if you're not aware, got a net. I hate nets. If you're not aware of who you can be, baby, I can turn it out. That's all I'm gonna tell you. I can turn it out, and I learned in my younger days, and that's how I realized, and I came to conclusion. Like I said, my counseling. Thank you for the Holy Spirit of God, because my counseling has been with Him. Because there's things, and some of it stemmed from damages from our childhood, and I believe some of what Will Smith is dealing with is damages from his childhood. And even Jada, I mean, Jada Pinkett, she talks about, I think her father was a drug user or something like that. No, her mama was a drug user, and I don't know about the dad. The dad, something was up with her grandfather, her father too. But yeah, you just gotta. Yeah, but one thing. Yes, ma'am. But one thing about the old person is always running. Yeah, and that's why I realized, there's times when you need to learn when to walk away. And I think what the main thing is that, like I said, I got a brother who's sitting in prison. I could be in prison right next to him if I let loose, and probably even worse than him, if I let loose of the generational curse that runs in that family line. I'm not. And like I said, right now, I have no criminal records, no nothing, but because I've learned with the Lord's help how to keep that other Shannon under control and keep her in her casket and her kennel and how to walk away. That's one of the reasons I had to leave that crazy night company. I'm like, ooh, y'all are toxic. And I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked what happened to them, and it's unfortunate what happened to that company and what when that driver went in there, but also what I saw, and even some of the stuff drivers would tell me that some of the driver managers would say to them was deplorable. Well, see, that's why you got to just walk away, and you got to cease and assist, even in families. Like I said, I have a friend right now. He got some stuff going on in his family. Child, by I would shut it down. I got family members I don't talk to. Me and my mother don't talk. I tried to be nice, tried to get, and every time it's foolishness. I'm not about a bunch of foolishness. And to me, what I learned out of that was sometimes people think that forgiveness means you have to keep letting a person come in your life and walk on you like a mat. It does not. And I don't care if it's your family member or not. Sometimes you got to just draw the line. And no, no, homie, it's okay. I forgive you. I don't forgive you over there. Don't come up on here. Don't even come to this door. Don't pick up the phone. We're good. And gas sex, I can feel I have indigestion. You can avoid the madness. Too many people, y'all letting madness up in your life that you shouldn't even let. Avoid it. So, yeah. We cool, but we ain't cool. That's exactly what it is. And it's not, and you got to get to a point of forgiveness because that gives you freedom. And it's not about hatred. It's just you understand when you're dealing with a fool. It's like women who get beat by men and then they go back into the relationship. Well, he said he's sorry. I can see maybe give him one more time, but he whoop your behind again. You need to be done. I'm really one who probably wouldn't give it one more time because I just don't believe. But he beat on you. You done. You done. Two times, it's done. We're not getting to a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. I can't. Yeah, and you can show, hey, two fingers. I don't hate my mother. I did for a while. I forgive her and I'm sorry for who she is. I didn't care for aspects of Grumpy. I forgive him, but I get who he was. He's damaged on a whole different level for other reasons, self-centered, because of how he was reared. A lot of who he was were the fault of his parents, his parenting, and how he was reared, and everybody treated him like the sun, the moon, and stars rose and shine on his behind. So he ended up being a sucky father because that was not his thing. And you know, he, we may have a whole nother sister. He didn't care. The woman he had messed with said she gave a girl to an uncle. He didn't care. I was like, oh, that's not good. You don't know if this man's molesting her. He didn't care. It's just who he was. That's, do you hate somebody like that? You actually kind of have to feel sorry for him because that's a pretty sick way to be. But then how he died said everything I needed to know. You got two sons an hour out who didn't come see about you on a consistent basis and could have been there to try to help you, but because of who you decided to be, you didn't get that. Okay. And both of them are just like him in two different ways. One's got the sexual issue and one got temper issue. Hot mess. Okay. Both got self-centered issues. Okay. One of the reasons I didn't get the car. Well, I'm not gonna argue with you. Here you go. Go ahead and try to sell it, and let's split the proceeds. That never happened. So, and it's okay. That's why I said once I'm done, I'm done. I don't hate you. I'm just done. And you're forgiven, but I'm done. I'm done. I don't go down those streets anymore with people, and it's okay because I'm figuring whatever you got coming, that's between you and the Lord. Sowing and reaping is a bee. So do you, boo boo. Anyway, y'all, we done been on here a while. I don't know. I may do something Sunday. I have to decide. I know I need to get out in the garden Sunday. I'm getting ready to get up in this kitchen right now and make me some stew. I've been wanting some stew. So I'm gonna make a stew here because it don't take long in the Instapot. I have some dishes to wash up, and I got a sweet tooth, but I don't know what I'm gonna eat. I got some yogurt in there. I might do yogurt. I might do a smoothie. Because that actually solves sweet tooth for me too. Anyway, y'all, 2 and 2, be blessed. Peace.